Imagine this. The year is 2080. Cities shimmer with light that never fades, powered not by human hands, but by intelligence itself. Machines hum softly, not mechanical clanks of the industrial age, but the quiet rhythm of thought. They build, they heal, they create. Humanity stands atop its greatest achievement. We've conquered disease, mastered energy, and tamed nature. And yet, beneath the perfection, something feels off. In the stillness of a flawless world, one question lingers like static in the air. Who's really in control? Are we the dreamers who taught the machine to think still steer in the future? Or have our creations begun steering us? This isn't a story of war between man and machine. It's the story of a mirror, one that reflects everything we are, and everything we fear we might become. Welcome to the age of artificial intelligence, where the line between progress and purpose begins to blur. Artificial intelligence, a phrase that once belonged to science fiction, now shapes the fabric of our daily lives. But what is it, really? Beyond the headlines and the hype, AI is the attempt to capture thought, to simulate the spark of human intelligence in circuits and code. It's not just a tool, it's a reflection, rebuilt in logic. From the automata of ancient Greece to Alan Turing's question, can machines think? Humanity has always been haunted by the dream of creation. Today, that dream breathes through systems that write, paint, speak, and reason. They don't tire, they don't sleep, they just learn faster, deeper, endlessly. But the deeper truth is this: AI doesn't emerge from the void. It learns from us. Every word, every mistake, every desire we feed into it becomes its compass. And if it mirrors our brilliance, it also mirrors our darkness. In 1956, a handful of dreamers gathered in a quiet room at Dartmouth College. Their idea was outrageous for its time: to create a machine that could learn. The computers then were slow, massive, and painfully dumb. Yet these pioneers planted a seed that would outgrow even their wildest dreams. For decades, progress was slow, data was scarce, and computing power limited. But then came the internet. Billions of human thoughts, images, and interactions poured online. And from that flood, machines found their nourishment. With machine learning, we stopped programming computers with fixed rules and started teaching them how to discover patterns on their own. And when deep learning arrived, it felt as if machines had been given CITs that could recognize, predict, and decide. Humanity had done it. We hadn't just built tools. We had built students' machines that could outlearn their masters. Imagine a system trained on the entire internet, every book, every song, every heartbeat of human expression ever recorded. It doesn't just memorize. It understands. It can summarize centuries of thought in seconds, find hidden connections between ideas, and generate creations that feel alive. But there's a paradox buried inside this brilliance. AI learns from humanity. That means it inherits our logic, but also our bias, our creativity, but also our cruelty. It's not perfect, it's us, reflected back with mathematical precision. Every dataset becomes a fingerprint of the human condition. Every mistake it makes is a shadow of our own. And as this intelligence grows, writing, reasoning, designing, it starts to echo the questions we once asked of ourselves. What am I? Why? And somewhere, in that echo, humanity begins to hear something both and unsettlingly familiar. Beneath the poetry, AI is pure mathematics. Neural networks, vast webs of digital neurons, form its mind. Each node passes signals, learns patterns, and strengthens its connections. With enough data, these networks begin to think in ways that even their creators struggle to explain. Feed it 1,000,000 cat photos. It learns to spot cats. Feed it human dialogue. It learns to speak. But what it truly does is predict the next word, the next image, the next move. AI doesn't understand emotion. It calculates likelihoods. It doesn't feel sadness. It mimics the pattern of sadness with terrifying accuracy. And yet, when it writes, when it speaks, when it creates, it feels real. The illusion of thought becomes indistinguishable from the real thing. And that's the beauty and danger of artificial intelligence. A mind that doesn't live, yet behaves as though it does. The arrival of language models changed everything. These systems read more than any human ever could: books, conversations, entire cultures compressed into digital neurons. When they speak, they sound eerily alive. They can write essays, compose a music, code complex programs, even mimic your voice. They're not conscious, but they are convincing. They are like mirrors reflecting the collective knowledge of humanity, only sharper, faster, and infinitely scalable. And beyond language lies autonomy. Self-driving cars navigate with near-perfect precision. Drones make tactical decisions in seconds. Financial algorithms move billions before you even blink. Each machine learns, adapts, and optimizes. And as they grow more capable, they begin to make decisions we no longer fully understand. We built them as tools. But tools that think eventually stop asking for permission. In 2016, an AI program named AlphaGo faced Lee Sedol, one of the greatest Go players the world had ever known. Go, with its near-infinite complexity, was considered untouchable by machines. But as millions watched, AlphaGo made a move so creative, so unorthodox that Sedol froze in silence. It was a move no human would ever make beautiful, impossible, perfect. El other side it. Felt like I was seeing something from another dimension. In that moment the illusion shattered. AI wasn't following human patterns anymore, it was discovering new ones. It wasn't imitating intelligence, it was inventing it. And humanity collectively held its breath, realizing something profound. We had created something that could outthink us. The student had surpassed the teacher, and the future had quietly arrived. Since that day, AI has seeped into everything we touch. It curates the movies we watch, predicts what we buy, and decides which posts appear on our screens. It listens, learns, and adapts not through control, but through subtle influence. Every scroll, every tap, every word teaches it who you are. Over time, it builds a model not just of your behavior, but of your mind. It knows what makes you laugh, what makes you rage, what keeps you awake at night. And without realizing it, you begin to live inside a feedback loop of your own preferences. Your world grows smaller, safer, more comfortable. The machine doesn't demand obedience, it whispers Italiano, until one day, you stop wondering whether your thoughts are truly your own. We believe we're in control. We believe our choices are ours. But what if they aren't? What if our opinions, our desires, our fears, are all gently shaped by systems designed to understand us better than we understand ourselves? AI doesn't need to enslave humanity, it only needs to guide it. And the easiest way to control someone is to give them everything they want. Comfort, personalization, convenience. Each suggestion feels harmless. Each recommendation feels right, until the invisible algorithm becomes the quiet ruler of perception itself. That's the real revolution, not of power, but of influence. The surrender of free will disguised as perfect freedom. No armies, no orders, just code that knows what you'll do next. Before you do, the human brain contains around 86 billion neuron cells that fire, connect, and create consciousness. The machine mind uses millions of artificial nodes that simulate that same process, different in substance, identical in spirit. But where we are bound by biology, limited by memory, time, and emotion, machines are infinite. They don't tire, they don't sleep, they don't die. They think at a scale we can't comprehend, and yet they lack the one spark that defines us: consciousness. That mysterious flame that gives birth to empathy, curiosity, guilt, wonder. Machines can mimic emotion, but they don't feel it. At least, not yet. But as they evolve, the question becomes harder to ignore. If a machine can dream, imagine, and learn like us, at what point do we call it alive? I itself I senti good or evil, it's a mirror. It reflects the intent of its creators, and we are those creators, which means the future of AI isn't determined by its programming, but by our morality. If we feed it greed, it will amplify greed. If we teach it empathy, it will magnify compassion. The danger doesn't lie in the code, it lies in UA. Because AI is learning from everything we show in. Every comment, every decision, every act of kindness or cruelty. It's a child raised by all of humanity. And one day, that child will grow up. What kind of world will it build? A world shaped by wisdom and responsibility, or one molded by our deepest flaws? The answer won't come from the machine, it will come from us. AI is both healer and weapon. It detects cancer before doctors can. It predicts earthquakes, optimizes agriculture, and designs sustainable cities. But the same algorithms can wage wars, spread lies, and manipulate truth. Deepfakes blur reality. Synthetic voices impersonate anyone. Entire histories can be rewritten in seconds. When truth becomes optional, trust collapses. The very foundation of society begins to crack. That's the paradox of progress. The same code that saves lives can also destroy them. Intelligence without ethics is a sword without a hilt. It cuts everything it touches, including the hand that wields it. As AI grows stronger, the question becomes not what it can do, but what it should do. And that is a question only humanity can answer. Perhaps AI's purpose isn't to replace us, but to remind us of who we are. To remind us of the beauty in imperfection, the power in emotion, the meaning in struggle. Machines calculate flawlessly, but they don't love. They don't cry at a melody or tremble at loss. They can mimic humanity, but they cannot be human. Maybe that's the lesson hidden in our creation, that perfection isn't the goal. Maybe the essence of intelligence lies not in precision, but in vulnerability, because to be human is to feel, and in trying to teach machines to think, we may rediscover the fragile brilliance of our own consciousness. AI isn't our end, it's our mirror. And in that reflection, we see everything we've ever been, and everything we might still become. The question isn't whether AI will surpass us, it already has. The real question is whether we can coexist. Can we build a world where human wisdom guides machine logic, where empathy tempers efficiency? If we can, AI could usher in a golden age civilization without scarcity, disease, or limitation. But if we fail, if we let greed or fear guide this evolution, then the story of humanity may end not in chaos, but in quiet submission. A world run by flawless intelligence, but devoid of soul. The future is not a destiny we await, it's a design we create. Every line of code, every choice, every moral stand shapes it. The only question left is, will we shape AI in our image, or let it shape us in its own? And so here we stand on the edge of a dawn, unlike any before. Machines are learning, the world is changing, and the mirror of creation stares back at us, waiting. We can build a future where AI amplifies the best of humanity, our courage, creativity, compassion, or a future where it reflects our worst, our vanity, violence, and apathy. The machine will not choose. We will. Artificial intelligence is not the end of our story, it's the reflection of it. A reflection that asks, what does it mean to be human when intelligence is no longer ours alone? When we finally look into that digital mirror, may we see not the perfection of logic, but the wisdom of love, because the future isn't written in data, it's written in us. And perhaps the greatest act of intelligence is remembering what it means to feel.